Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumalitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangalam Daritagiri Yakripa Tamaham Vande Shivurubhavatarinam. By the mercy of the spiritual master, a lame man can cross mountains. By the mercy of the spiritual master, a blind man can see stars in the sky. By the mercy of the spiritual master, a dumb man like me can speak eloquently. I offer my humble obeisances to the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Kutali, Shrimati Tamal Krishna Visvambhara Namane. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Kutali, Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravana Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shrindavati Paschata Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavanamaya Krishna Prem Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namane HG Visvambhara Prabhu Brahmane Deva Pravnitaja Jagatitaya Krishna Gaura. And my humble obeisances to the Vaishnava present. Vanchakalpadrivascha Kripasindhubhyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. So, I didn't prepare for any specific class or topics. We'll be speaking about the power of the book. Why you can call book distribution a phenomena or hype or something that perhaps we don't understand why we do a marathon of distribution of these books at the end of the year. So I will be shedding a little bit of light on what is the book, why we distribute these books, what is the benefits that we gain by distributing these books, what is the results that we will achieve by distributing these books, and what is the goal, in other words, of book distribution. We know that the ultimate goal of book distribution is to help more souls to come close to Krishna, to make devotees, really. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you read in the Adi Leela, you can see he's with the hands like that, he's in the mood of giving out the mercy. That is the mood of, the most merciful mood of Krishna. So when he's extremely merciful, then he manifests himself into this Karuna Bhava, this mood of giving. Bhava is the feeling of giving. Giving what? Giving Krishna Prema. Giving love for Him. You can say that what He's giving us is just the remembrance that we already have in our heart. Everyone has already love for God in their heart. But we forgot them. Just like when the snow comes, white everywhere, covers everything. All the colors are covered, the flowers. So similarly, when we are in this material environment, the snow Maya covers the feeling of love that we have for Krishna in our consciousness. And that is the natural constitution of the soul, is to be Satchitananda Vigraha, eternally blissful in his love and service to Krishna, Vigraha. This is actually the form of the soul. And it's full of knowledge. It's not that the books, they're giving us knowledge. You're just, when we distribute these books, we are inviting people to remember what is already there in their heart. Just like today I was showing a picture to my wife. We stopped on the motorway and I gave a Bhagavad Gita to a nice gentleman. A businessman, and he was very happy to receive the book. He said, when I explained to him this book, it just wakes up our dormant law that we have forgot. And, just by reading, you start to remember who you are, where you come from, what is the purpose of life, where do you go in this material world, where do you go after you die? These are all very important questions. So he got out of the car and said, I've always asked myself those questions, but I never spoke to anybody about it. He said, people they think I'm mad. If I say to a friend of mine, he said, who I am, who am I? People, they start to say, oh, you are the son of such and such. You are English, or you are a teacher, or whatever. Whatever external you have, that's what people, they recognize you, your connections. And this is all the external. But actually, the soul that is traveling in this body, it doesn't belong to this present situation. We will change it. We have changed it for millions of lives. So he was very happy. He said, yes, I always knew that there was something. I said, yeah, well, carry on. You read this book and you will discover something that is already there in your heart. The relationship that you have with God. So it'll give you, first of all, the Aham Brahmasmi, the understanding that you are the soul, and then the Sambandha Jnana, that the understanding that the soul is connected to another personality in the heart, which is God, that then you stop feeling on your own. Then that's it. This is the end of your depression, solitude. Once you know that you have an eternal companion, a friend, in the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam, Krishna says, I am Avignata. Avignata is the word Avignata in Sanskrit means the oldest friend. There is nobody more friendly to you than God, because He knows you very well. He created you. He created you with His expansion power. He's always creating new living for His pleasure. So nobody should feel useless, because if you feel useless, then it's like you are insulting God. You think that, because, in other words, if someone calls you are useless, you're stupid, that person is insulting God. Because you could say, well, it's not my fault, that's the way God has created me. But He has created me for His pleasure. So I'm useful for something. So the books, they also reveal our, seva, that we have the eternal seva with God. By reading them, we just remember everything. We start to remember. It says, that one was faith in the demigods and the Guru, unflinching faith. Then to that person, the import of the Vedas is revealed. That means the Vedas, they're already in our heart, and love of God becomes manifest. So book distribution, the power of the book. These books, you could see that in any religions, what makes the organization powerful and strong? It's not the manpower or the money, the resource, or the churches, temples. What has generated all these things? Like, for example, the Vatican, the Catholic institution, is worth trillions and trillions of pounds. But all this, it's actually from one literature, one book, Bible. In the beginning there was only the Bible. So you could see the power of the book. The Bible, just by people reading it, associating with the instructions of God, they become powerful. That power means faith. When we say that person is powerful, powerful means either you are powerful with knowledge, or powerful with bodily strength or intelligence. That means faith. You have invested your faith in something, in believing what is in the books. Or you have invested your faith in exercising your body, so you make your body strong. So it's the faith of your exercise that makes you strong. Or you invest your faith in learning, becoming a doctor. So that power is actually from faith, from a belief. When you believe in something, then you will achieve the goal. So in the beginning, a few people, they took up the message of the Bible, and then they multiply, just like Jesus said, 12 of you, you go out and preach, multiply yourself. Preach to those who have forgotten their relationship with God. And then from manpower comes resource, faith, buildings. People, they start to construct temples, churches. Then organizations, institutions, the whole administration behind it. You go in the Vatican or even in ISKCON, there's so many offices all around the world, GBC, administration. This is all institutional. All this was born from the faith in the book. Now, if you take everything away, if you destroy everything, all the temples in ISKCON, you tell everyone to take a break from Krishna consciousness, you lose all the manpower, all the money, all the temple, everything. Destroy all the faith. But you just destroy all the books and you leave one book standing, Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita would be doomed to regenerate everything again. Manpower, resource, faith, temples. Because that's the power of the book. But on the other hand, you destroy the Bhagavad Gita, you destroy our books, and you leave the institution very, very wealthy, very in a strong position. Lots of manpower, lots of devotees, lots of money, lots of temples. Government, they give us castles and whatever. If you have everything, but you don't have the book, what will happen? What's your name? Sheila. If you destroy the Bhagavad Gita, the books, right, which they provide our guidance and faith, and you have everything else is very healthy, what will happen?
I suppose you lose touch with God, because Bhagavad Gita is nothing but the words exactly spoken by Bhagwan, the God, Krishna himself. So when you read, you feel the power, you feel empowered, you feel intelligent. What
will happen, Chaitanya Prabhu?
Yeah, well, eventually there'll be nothing left.
There you are. Chaos. Everything will collapse. Chaos. Everything, there will be nothing left, because everything will collapse. Without faith, you take out, that's why Prabhupada was very intelligent. He gave the right terms He never said money is the base, or manpower is the base, the muscle of the devotees, or churches, they are the basis. He said that the books are the basis, because on the books rests everything. That is why book distribution is very important in any religion. Moses, you all know the story of Moses. He was not powerful because he did some magic, or he was a powerful man. But from the 10 Commandments and his faith in these scriptures provided by God, then he was able to actually lead a crusader, install that faith, that instruction of God into the heart of his followers. And they become empowered. And then you see the books, especially if they contain the Word of God. Bhagavad Gita means the Song of God. They cannot be passive. The words of God, they cannot be passive. If you come and you hear every day some words from a devotee, from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, you don't think, that you go home and everything is the same and nothing will happen, passive. But actually, you will become naturally, spiritually impassive. It creates a revolution, like you said. They create books, they create message, they create a revolution. The propaganda usually it's done by writing. People, they prepare a speech in writing, and then they preach, they propagate the powerful words, and that's how you get, strike. Every time you see a strike, people, they have something in writing. PowerPoint. The main message, is in words. Oh, you stand on the stage and you say few words, but those words are from knowledge, from books. So, book distribution is actually the main artery. You can call it the artery of the veins of ISKCON. Prabhupada says, that ISKCON is my body. And there are 3 activities that constitute Srila Prabhupada's life, missionary activities. They're pure mission. Anybody knows which 3 activities they constitute the mission? Okay, you can say one.
Book distribution.
That's the first one. Then what else? How do you conquer the people?
Japa.
Okay, the chanting of the Holy Harinam. The third one, that's it, prasadam. These 3 activities, book distribution, prasad distribution, and the holy name distribution, they are the crown jewel. They are actually the vision of our movement. And everything else is supporting that vision. That is the way how you make devotees. Prabhupada left 2 things, institution and the mission. The missionary work is what we do to install faith into people's hearts. And you do this with these 3 activities, prasada, books, and harinam. They appear to be very, very simple activities, old school. Nowadays, some devotees, sometimes they've done it a little bit in the past, book distribution a little bit, but then they want to move into something else. Some they get caught up for education, or maybe they want to become GVC, or they want to become whatever. Teachers or whatever. There are so many occupational duties which is, it's all devotional service, that's fine. But if they're not connected to these three activities, then the person will dry up. Even those who work every day, they could take part in these activities. You can't go out and distribute books, maybe because you are frail, or you are sick, or you are a pensionate, or you are busy with your work, or because you are busy with your family, but you can always support. You can give some Lakshmi to sponsor some books, or you can buy some books and give to some friends without standing in the street and facing the element, the cold, the weather, the mind. That's your temple resident. He can tell you a little bit more about that. He goes out every day. I go out every day, and it's very austere because you are on the mainstream of preaching. You're giving people this remembrance of God. So, but there is always something you could do to help this mission. Or you can support prasad distribution or the Harinam party. You could be chanting. Or if you can't do any of these things, at least remain favorable. Do not denigrate or criticize those who are engaged in these activities. And then Krishna will be very pleased. He's not dictator, Krishna, that unless you distribute my books, or unless you engage in the holy name, Harinam, or unless you distribute prasad, you don't come back home, back to Godhead, you don't come to me. It's not like that. He is very, very happy when we give up sinful activities and you don't do nothing. But he's even more happy if you give up sinful activities and you do little something. Something is better than nothing. Of course, more is better than something. That was the famous expression of Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So, even if you don't do something or more, even if you don't do nothing, it's better to not. If you criticize the devotees, then it's better don't get up. Don't get out of your bed. Then you will make more advancement. You will actually, you are safe. Krishna will put you back to sleep. So, these three activities are fire. If we cannot support, that's why we say, oh, that devotee is fired up. That means it's entered into the. If we don't, you have to become. What Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam, one has to become Brahman in order to enter into the Brahmajyoti. One has to become fire in order to enter into the fire. One has to become spiritual in order to enter into the spiritual world. See, unless you become fire, you cannot take part in this mission. So that's why you can remain. It's up to you if you want to remain wet wood, dry wood, or enter into the fire and become useful for some heat and light. Sankirtan devotees, they're like that. Those who are engaged in the mission of Krishna consciousness, they enter into the fire of preaching. But it doesn't mean that those who don't enter into the fire, they're not useful. You have a dry wood, one day they become fired up to enter into the fire. But wet wood means, when we hold on to our anartha. Sometimes wet word means when we are going against these three activities. Either we criticize the devotees, we don't support them, or we think, the whole thing is in a sentimentalism, chanting the holy name, or we think that these books, they're just ordinary paper, and then we think it's not doing anything, why should I do it? They're all wasting time. So that means, you will never catch fire. Even if if you get close to the heat by the association of those who are fired up devotees, then you can see the smoke comes out of the wet wood. That means purification. When the smoke comes out, that means, that first of all, good sadhana, reading, nourishment for ourselves, purification, to become strong with our faith. Then once you become convinced, then you enter into the preaching mission. That's what Srila Prabhupada wants us. It's very simple, this process, to understand the contents of the books and then share it with other people. It doesn't matter how you do it. Like, the Hridayananda Maharaj, very intelligent preacher. First of all, why we are devotee, why we are, practicing this Krishna consciousness. And it doesn't really get caught up, into the devotional clothes or conventional clothes, or, you have the thing is, you use anything and everything which is supportive for Krishna service. We could go out, in karmic clothes and distribute books, lots of books. You could go out, in devotional clothes, distribute books, or preach, or could do whatever. Anything you do, it's not important really how you do it, but it's more important why we are doing it. Is to help other living entities. Even very often when I give seminars, I always invite the devotees to do some kind of self-analysis. Why we distribute books, why we preach, it's because I need money, or because I want to be the number one, or because I want to be recognized for being a great preacher, or because I feel merciful, or is it because I've been told what to do? See, there are so many reasons why we do it. But it's important to really understand within ourselves why. But if we read these books, then we will understand that, Krishna is actually calling for our help. He comes as a devotee, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and for that purpose, to give this love of Godhead to the forgotten souls. So giving, it's always higher than taking. When you give, you feel, isn't that a win-win situation? You feel satisfied and happy, and the person who receives also feels happy. But when you take, when you demand for something, dusparena nalinacha, the senses, they are never satisfied. No matter how much you take. So we want to understand the mood of Mahaprabhu, first of all, and then help that mood. He came to give the peace of mind, the happiness, all the things that we have forgotten, all the basic things. People say, "Oh, I've heard that before," but so if you heard that before, why the world is in chaos? wars everywhere. People, they think that there is no need of peace, so they carry on, having fighting for resource, for race conflict. There's so much ignorance and illusion. We've been hammered every day. But not very often you find those leaders giving something substantial to people, something spiritual. Let's try with a different gift, the gift of God. Let's try to become a bit more spiritual. Let's try to behave the way God wants us to behave, to love each other. Because that is the real knowledge. It's not that people, even the big leaders, in God we trust, they try to see God, to pray to God, but then, they don't care about the people. So much suffering. Even the devotees, they go in front of the deities, they pray, very humble, but they very often, they don't even know how to deal with other devotees. So if we don't learn to love what we see first, we can never learn to love what we don't see. The moment we don't see God, but we see people around us. We see the Guru, we see the devotees. So let's learn, exercise our love. Not only that, a devotee goes out, to make friendship with the non-devotees. And believe me, there is a lot of good in this world. People, they're just misled. It's not, there are no demons. The demoniac mentality, it's there in everybody, but we have to choose the right thing to do. We have to choose according to the guidance of the scriptures. Everybody's got a good dog and a bad dog in their heart. But we have to help people, reminding them, cultivate, feed your good dog, starve your bad dog, kill your lust, kill your anger, starve your greed, but feed your mercy, feed your compassion, feed your love, your knowledge, your power of giving. Those are the cultivations. We can always choose at every second if I want to be a good person or a bad person. You won't find a perfect man in this world. Everybody's got some demoniac tendency. Everybody. If someone comes to you and says, I'm not a demon, I'm a devotee, I'm a good person, don't trust that person. He's trying to sell you something. Everybody, because we all have lust, anger and greed. Even a pure devotee, sometimes when they come, they have to pray very hardly to not get implicated into the material energy. We're talking about a Nitya Siddhi. We were just reading the other day from the first class. Sukadeva Goswami was afraid to get out of the womb of his mother because he was afraid to become entangled, afraid of being kidnapped, maya prita jnana, kidnapped by the ignorance of material energy, by the illusion. So strong is this material energy. Even the pure devotees, they're afraid. Prabhupada was praying in front of the deities. If he was secure and proud of himself that he would never, then he wouldn't be chanting. He would have told us about the Holy Name, and then why does he need to chant? He's already liberated soul. But he would chant every day with a fear of not collapsing into this material energy. Maya Yakshena Prakriti, it's an energy of the Lord. And he's a pure. Devyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durataya. It's a divine energy. So from this divine, the demoniac can come out. It's bewildering, Vairanga Maya. Avaranatmika Shakti. Sometimes people, they wonder, like Arjuna was wondering from Krishna, what makes people What impels people to sinful activities? A good person. I'm a good person, but sometimes I fall in weakness. Arjuna was asking, the Lord says, only lust. Well, where is this lust coming from? It's in the heart of everybody. Avaranatmika Shakti. Bhagavad Gita, that's why it explains everything. Contemplating Dhyayato Vishayam Punsha Sangasti Supajayate. Just by contemplating this beautiful energy, you become contaminated. You develop attachment. That attachment is a lust. Then you want it. You want to enjoy it. Because we are not strong enough. We are not strong like Krishna. This material energy is only subordinate to Krishna, but not to us. Even pure devotees, they don't try to lord over the material energy when they come. They're afraid of it. They're afraid, falling prey of this energy. Of course, when we take shelter of Krishna, that fear is not there anymore. But you see, that's why surrender to Krishna. So, when we distribute this knowledge, the power of the book, it's what provides nourishment for you to be strong, for you to be secure, to feel safe, to feel surrender. It gives you an effect, but you have to read the book. By reading the book that you distribute, you become empowered by that book. Because it's the words of God. The words of God that protect you and they lead you towards the salvation, not just yours, but also. I was having a discussion with my wife today. About 15 people, they took a book in this small car park on the motorway, very small. So we stopped the car, she had some lunch, and then I said to her, 15 people towards salvation, liberation. And we had a discussion. It's not that they become liberated by receiving the book, but it takes time. They may read it, they get some benefit, even by looking at the picture, by reading one line, they start to remember. Then next time they see the devotees, they take another book and they read it. So the cultivation of Krishna consciousness is like that. It takes gallons of blood to make one devotee. They don't fall off from the trees. The devotees, they don't grow from the tree. It's the result of book distributors, preachers, and it takes gallons of blood. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, you may not see results for a long time to make one devotee. Like, sometimes I've done book distribution for many, many years. But sometimes there are years, no devotees. Of course, you don't know where these books, they travel. But last year was like, within the round of, the circle of 3 years, 2 devotees I met. Kamal Jetwa, and then another person who's starting to come to the temple, Christopher. This person, after receiving the book, coming from Mangalarti, and then now is starting to associate with devotees. At some point he wants to join the ashram, and to the point that was so favorable that he donated a car, to one of the devotees. So it's people, when they become touched by this touchstone, by these books, then they give their lives. It's not that. I remember when I had plenty of money before I became a devotee. My mother put me in a business with her, I had 2 cars and a motorbike, good money coming in, but I was not happy. I was miserable. But then when I came in contact with the books, I didn't just give some money, but I gave my life. That's the thing, that's the power of the book. It makes people surrendered, makes people activating the U-turn. Because going forward in this material world, it's just things they're going to get worse and worse and worse. If you read, more you read towards the 11th canto, 12th canto, you'll see that the prediction of Kali, if you want to wait around, there will be grass but no grains. There will be clouds in the sky but no rain. There will be no food. The tallest man will be 1 meter tall. There will be nothing to eat. People, they will eat their own progeny. There will be scarcity. It will be chaos, and that's when that's at the end, towards the end of Kali, when Kalki comes and it destroys everybody. There will be very, very few devotees around. So we don't want to hang around. If we have a chance now to get out, we should do that. I think I went 5 minutes over.
You can ask for questions and reflections and things.
If there is any questions, reflections, of course there will be some distribution activity tomorrow. You can always come. I'll be giving a class tomorrow, Bhagavatam class. You're welcome to listen to that, and there will be some book distribution. Yes, Tishri.
Just a few reflections, and I'd like to thank you first. It was very inspiring to hear, because I needed this actually. And I wanted to reflect on when you compared Maya to snow, covering everything and covering our hearts. And also when we're giving out the books, it's basically getting the people to remember the love they had for Krishna. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes when we go out on the sacred street party and you just feel hesitant, you feel like, well, I don't quite want to do this, but I need to do it as a service. But it's nice to see the perspective of actually they already love Krishna. Wake up.
It's a nice reflection. Rather than see, there's only one title of Adikarta. The word Adikarta means the doer is Krishna, and that title it only belongs to Krishna. We are not the doer of making someone devotee. That's why I'm very careful. From my years of experience, I can see that I never say, I made him a devotee, or this devotee is being created by me, or whatever. It's Krishna that he allows us, he empowers us to have the ability to help people to remember. It's all about. That's why Prabhupada, when he came, the very first, when he landed in England, you remember in the conversation in the Nectar book of Satsvaru Maharaj, the journalist asked questions, what did you come here for? I came here to teach
you what you have forgotten.
Exactly. Prabhupada said, he never said, I came here to teach something new. That's why we are not. Whereas the other religions, they're a bit more like forceful, unless you surrender to Christ, He's the only one, the only way. The Bible is the only knowledge can give you the intelligence. But no, we are not like that. We give people the knowledge that already belongs to them. Such chit. Chit means knowledge. It's already belonging to the soul. Sat Chitananda. And therefore, we are not the doer of helping people. We're just messengers. We bring them the this remembrance. Preaching means, helping people in remembering. That's what it is, really. It's not that they learn something from you, new. You don't have to be a philosopher. Like Prabhupada told one devotee, what this little girl is doing, that's preaching. She was going around saying, Krishna is God, Saraswati was the one. And Prabhupada said, that's preaching because she's reminding people about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you for that. And do you have a question?
I had one reflection and then a question also. So thank you very much. You were mentioning the three items which we should try and share, which counteract the influence of Maya. So actually, I heard your spiritual master. He was saying that Maya, she has a trident, and with that trident, she inflicts three types of suffering on the living entities. Misery is coming from the body and mind, misery is coming from other living entities, and misery is coming from natural phenomena. So he was saying that we also have a trident with which we attack Maya. Maya is attacking us, but we attack Maya or keep away the influence of Maya. So that trident is book distribution, prasadam distribution, and the holy name distribution.
Yes.
But sorry.
That's a good reflection, because this is not our trident. It's not our power, but it's the power of God. The words of God, the names of God, and the food. Krishna, that's what we call Krishna Prasad, the mercy of God.
Mm-hmm.
What is book distribution, prasad distribution, and Harinam? Is the words of God, the names of God, and the mercy of God. See that this is God, in other words, defeating Maya, not us. It's not our few words preaching or whatever it is.
Thank you. And then I had a question, which was that for those of us who feel like we'd like to try and distribute some books, but maybe we've never done it before, or we feel nervous, or we feel afraid, or perhaps we've tried it and we haven't been successful, then what should we do? And also, what's the importance of reading the books as well? Is there some importance in that? So it's kind of a double-barrel question.
Of course, I can see that this is not a question that will benefit you. You're asking for the benefit of the audience.
It'll benefit me too.
But it's a good question. What is, original, when I broke the ice of the talk, what is the purpose of book distribution? Why? It's usually because we don't understand really the power of the book, and that is why, because we don't read it. If you don't read these books, you can practice so much sadhana, you can chant so much Hare Krishna mantra, you can take prasad, but if you don't read these books, you will remain weak. You can never stipulate in yourself the desire to, because book distribution or the power of giving, the Madhyamadikari is known by his knowledge. By reading the book, you are just nourishing yourself, becoming strong. And then once you have understood the product, you believe in it, and then you want to sell it or you want to share it. So it's all about, that's why reading makes a person spiritually strong. And we call it a Madhyamadikari. A Kanista doesn't read much, doesn't have much faith in the scriptures, in the holy name. But that's why, he has problems in relationships, argues with everyone, criticizes, or because, unfortunately he doesn't have much knowledge, he's not very strong, and therefore he doesn't preach. He's also he's recognized for non-preaching. And usually he's always very annoying reverence in front of the deities, very much attached to see the deities. But actually a preacher is someone who was a strong faith in the books, strong knowledge, very difficult to defeat the argument of a Madhyamadikari, middle class devotee, because he's prepared, he reads, and also he makes friendship with other devotees. Yes, that charity begins at home. Before I go out and preach to non-devotees, I make sure that I have a good relationship with my family. And my family is ISKCON. So you don't criticize devotee, you cooperate with them. And he has a strong faith in the Holy Name. But where is that faith again? Is from the books, by reading the books. We read the books of the Acharya to understand their mood. Like Lord Chaitanya, he came for two purposes. He empowered two sets of Goswamis. The first sets of Goswami told them to go to Vrindavan and write these books. He didn't say, go there, do Harinam or chant or preach. He said, go there, and they were the six Goswami, Rupa, Sanatana, Raghunath, Gopala, Bhatta Goswami, Jiva Goswami. He told them to go and write. So they did all the writing on behalf of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu he didn't write anything. The only thing he left behind in terms of writing, it was the Shisastaka, the 8 sloka. So, and then the second sets of Goswami that he empowered, this is all there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Who are they? Anybody knows? 3 of them, especially. So one set of Goswami empowered them to write, and another set of Goswami, he empowered them to distribute the literature of the 6 Goswami. Who are these 3? Anybody?
Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya, and Ramchandra Kaviraj.
No, Shyamananda.
Oh, Shyamananda.
So this Mahaprabhu, he divided the power. These 2 sets of Goswami, they represents the power of writing and the power of distributing of Mahaprabhu. He did all the writing through the 6 Goswami, and he did all the distributing through the Shyamananda, Narottam, and Srinivas. So you could see, that Mahaprabhu, he wanted books. He didn't just say, just travel everywhere and chant Hare Krishna. It's good to chant, or travel everywhere, build up a movement of cooks, and make just prasada and chant Hare Krishna. Chanting and prasada, that's it. No. He wanted the philosophy also, the words of God to be propounded. And he empowered his manjaris. He did all his work through the manjaris. He empowered all his manjaris from the spiritual world. They came. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all manjaris. And Lord Prabhupada also. I'm quoting, what I heard from a senior sannyasi, that Prabhupada, he could have been just like the other Goswami, manjaris. Because all the other Goswami, they were all manjaris, the 6 Goswamis. Narottam, Srinivas, and Shyamananda, they were all manjaris. Because gopis, you could see now that he had a few of the gopis, associates of Mahaprabhu, but they were not very much, they just involved in lila, giving pleasure to Krishna. Like a Damodar, Swarup Damodar. Of course, he used Ramananda Roy, as for conversations. But all that conversation is being recorded by the Goswamis. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is another manjari. See, the manjari, they are very famous for preaching. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So anyway, so that's a few thoughts.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama